Hey,
All right. Hey, it's finally Friday. That means another episode of Friday Night Live. And I'm Rockin' Ron with Decibel Geek TV, and I'm here with my good buddy, Chris and Zach. What's happening, Chris?
not much. You'll notice our Mr. Camaro is out of commission tonight. He's had a brutal week at his job, and he works for a restaurant group, and they're opening 2 new restaurants over the next, a month or something. And he's pretty much exhausted. So it's you get the 2 morons to fill in his place today. But I don't know. Happy to see everybody online. Thanks for tuning in. Good to see a few of our regulars on here. Our one female listeners on. Yes.
Faft.
And welcome to that. It really rolls off the tongue. And our buddy Rock and Row. Hey, man. How's it going? Good to talk to you.
Hey, Robert.
Be more subdued tonight. I'm not drinking any tonight. I think I had enough last week for 2 weeks. So, and plus the Super Bowl Sunday, so I'm trying to, save my liver for.
Oh, you're saving up for it.
Yeah, it's gonna be. Boy, I'm nervous already for Sunday, but yeah, I think we're gonna win.
Do I need to break out the Chief Thunder chicken here again?
Sure, why not?
See if Chief Thunder chicken can kick old deflated balls.
Deflated balls. Yeah. That was a fun year. Like when the top news story is balls that don't have enough air in them.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Especially when it's his balls. But
Mighty K wants you to show her your ice cubes. I hope that's not code for. I hope that's not code for something else.
Yeah. Is that code?
Damn, that's a lot of ice cubes.
I'm good. Check back in an hour though, okay?
But yeah, so I don't know, how's your week been this past week, Mr. Ron?
Oh, it's been pretty tough as well. Stressful and that been another long work week.
Yeah, I hear you.
That's why I look forward to Friday night here. Let loose and interact with some of our buddies here.
Anthony Roush. Been a long week. Very happy about that. It's been a long week for a lot of people. This is like the dog days of winter. I don't know. I'm not crazy about this time of year most years, so I'm ready for spring already. I'm tired of.
Oh no, tell me about it. It's been of course that's Colorado for you. We get all 4 seasons and in the same week, but yeah, it's been up and down from snowstorms to 70-degree weather to all kinds of things. So it's been back and forth all week. Oh, yeah.
But Rock and Ron knows how to dress winter. Just look.
You have entered the Psycho Circus. Welcome to the show.
Yeah.
Put the lotion in the basket, damn it. Hey, Doug, how's it going, man? Doug's wearing a Packers shirt. Hi, Joanna. How are you? Good to talk to you. But we've got a new Decibel Geek that's coming out pretty soon. Interviewed Ron Keel this past week. Had a really cool discussion with him. He's going to be coming back for Rockin' Pod this year, so I'm excited to see him again. But we got into some cool stories about his Nashville roots, about when he was a dishwasher at a restaurant and he was paying his dues, and talking about the rock scene in Nashville in 1979 is much different than today. Or I guess
so did he grow up in Nashville?
No, he moved here when he was 17, I believe, and he tells the story of how he wound up out here. He was living in Texas at the time, and the story about how he wound up out here is pretty wild. But it was cool to talk to him, and he's actually kind of like in hibernation mode. He's not on social media much because he's writing a lot of new songs for another record. So excited to hear what he's going to put out next.
That's cool.
Yeah.
But when should we be getting that up?
Aaron actually is probably working on it either tonight or tomorrow. So it'll probably be up by Sunday, Monday, I'm thinking. Yeah.
Okay.
And I'll
Well, I just got up the video version of New York Rocks with Tony Mann. Worked a long time on that because I put a lot of pictures and video clips and stuff to go along with the story. Come out really cool.
All right.
And actually, Tony even messaged me today.
Oh, did he? What did he have to say?
Saying how cool it was and that, and told him we was looking forward to having him on possibly in July on the live stream here, because his birthday is the same as mine.
Oh,
he
really?
said that on July 13th.
And I think we're going to do either we'll have him on in July for the live stream, or we'll have him on for Christmas in July, or maybe we'll do a Christmas in July live stream because we haven't done that before. So double your kiss pleasure, double your kiss fun, I guess. And, so we'll do that. Damn, Anthony, stitches in a thumb and a wisdom tooth extraction.
Ooh,
your week sucked more than mine.
Yeah,
so
I didn't have it that bad.
Yeah, no, I didn't have it that bad either. I'm just dealing with my day job where I do medical billing, and it's just as exciting as it sounds. It's really fun.
So what's a soul jacker?
I don't know what a soul jacker is. Of course, I'm getting really impure thoughts when thinking about it, but is that
more innuendo like my ice cubes or something?
I think you have to jerk somebody off via Ouija board. That sounds like soul jacker, right?
Yeah.
Of course, there we go.
Yeah.
All right. Oh boy.
All right.
Toomey's in the house.
Oh boy, look out.
Toomey waited till Aaron wasn't around when he shows up. That's great. All right. Well, so we got a special guest coming on tonight, right, Ron? You want to talk about that a little bit?
We do. And we got Mr. Drew Rose from Wildside. Of course, everybody knows, one of my favorite bands. And I've been touting them for years. And he agreed to come on tonight, but he's also got a really cool YouTube channel, a Facebook page, and a YouTube channel. Now it's available on YouTube. And where each week he's releasing short little 5-10 minute interviews with all our favorite rock stars. Well, I'm going to play a clip here in a little bit, a promo clip before we bring him on, let you guys know what it's all about. But it's a really cool thing called 80s Metal Recycle Bin.
Yeah, it's really cool.
You can look that up on Facebook and, of course, on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel and everything. He's got some really cool interviews. I just noticed about an hour before we went on air here, he put out a Michael Sweet interview, which I'm going to have to check out. And that should be really cool. Yeah. But it looks like he is ready to go. Give me the thumbs up there, Drew, if you're ready. All right.
He's ready.
So we're going to go ahead and play this little promo clip for you guys, and then we'll bring him on here.
All right, let's go.
Hey, my name's Eric Turner.
Gilby Clark.
Ricky Rackman.
Hi, I'm Eddie Trunk.
Hi, I'm Chuck Wright.
I'm Steve Brown.
My name is Oni Logan.
I'm Mark Schenker from the band Kix.
I'm Vince Neil.
I'm Daryl Dwarf from the Killer Dwarfs.
My name's Rudy Sarzo.
Dana Strum.
Michael Wilton.
Jack Blades from Night Ranger.
Stephen Pierce.
Mark Slaughter.
Tony Harnell.
Tammy.
Lon.
Hi, it's Bobby Blotzer from Rat.
I'm Don Jameson.
John Karabi.
Ted Poley, Danger Danger.
I'm Vinny Appice.
My name's Robert Sweet.
Kane Roberts.
I'm Kip Winger.
I'm Steve Whiteman from the Goddamn Kicks Band.
Eddie Jackson from Queensrÿche.
It was a time of our lives. I mean, we were living it fast, living it fun,
having a great time. I wish you all could have been there. You know, what can I say?
Wow.
All right. What do you think of that?
It looks awesome to me. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's bring the man on here. Here is Mr. Drew Rose.
Hey, how's it going, man?
I'm live now. Right on.
You are live.
I was in the holding tank forever. Yeah, you had me put what did it say? Backstage. Yeah.
Yeah, backstage. Yeah.
Right on. How you guys doing?
Good. How are you today?
I'm good, man. Are you guys in Nashville? Where is everybody?
I'm in Nashville. Ron's in Denver.
That's right. Okay. Yeah. So I'm in Nashville too. So we're neighbors.
Cool. Well, technically I'm in Murfreesboro, but nobody outside of Tennessee knows where Murfreesboro is.
Yeah, right. Yeah, well, I know. So.
Oh man. So yeah, it's good to have you on, and Ron's a big champion of yours with the Wildside days, and the Under the Influence album, definitely a very underrated album and kind of a lost gem from that era. And we'll want to get into Wildside a bit too, obviously, but I know you're mainly here to promote the 80s Metal Recycle Bin. So, and I see Jim Darby listed, who was also in Wildside. So how long have you guys been working on this? And also who does your editing? Cause I'm going to fire Ron from our video channel and hire them.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. We've been after it now. I was reminded how long we've been after this for, because Facebook is constantly reminding you how old you are by saying, here's a memory from 3 years ago or whatever.
Right.
And I got a memory sort of reminder on Facebook for, with my personal page this morning with a shot of cruise ship, the Monsters of Rock cruise ship somewhere in Cozumel, I think, where we were standing on the docks. And that was one of the places that we took our camera crew and we took our team and we were there. I don't remember if you guys were there. I think I ran into Ron. Were you there, Ron? Or did you go? Yeah, I think
I was there. I remember seeing you doing that, going around with the camera, and you guys all doing it. Was really looking forward to seeing what you come out with, and it did take a while, but very well done.
I'll tell you what happened. So we set out to do a real sort of docu-series that had multiple, episodes, 30 minutes, maybe 60 minutes. And supposed to have an inside look at, did you freeze up? Oh no, you're drinking? Are you drinking alcohol?
He's always drinking. But yeah, you did freeze up for a second there.
Yeah, sometimes I Zoom all day long on these things, and from the work that I do outside of all of this, and the camera, the Wi-Fi is just also spotty. But yeah, so we set out to do this thing, and we were hoping to do it more legitimately through Netflix or an Amazon, and we had a lot of deals in place, and everything was looking good, but. We went and started to look at the costs to license all the music, because these documentaries really didn't make a whole lot of sense if I'm going to do a documentary episode on, say, LA Guns. And one of the episodes was focused on all the guys, which we shot them all, and it winds up that I can't get the music because they don't own it. I can't get their photos because they don't own half of those, and music videos and all that. So we hired someone to get the rights, sort of a licensing release type of lawyer team that does this all day in LA. And it just started to become outrageously expensive. And at some point we just said, unless we can find some funding to put this together, and we did. We spent a lot of time on getting some funding, and it just it didn't work out. So that's why it's taken so long, Ron, to finally say, you know what, it's sitting here. Let's get it out there, and regardless of the format, or where, what platform it winds up on, it needs to be seen. It's just getting older, and some of the content that was interviewed at that time isn't relevant anymore. So we need to get it out and get people to, even if it's older, it's still fun to watch. And as you noticed, if you watched the interviews, you'll see that most of these are part one, and because we've got hours of, in most cases over an hour of everyone. But no one's going to sit on YouTube, and watch something for an hour, and kill yourself. So we've tried to make these short, sweet, fun, maybe as long as a Iron Maiden song, 5 minutes, and then when, you just feel like you've had enough, it ends. Or maybe we've left you with more, you want more, that's the idea. And so there's just so much little gems. I've got this incredible story. We sat around in one of the suites on the cruise ship interviewing Slaughter, and we got some, oh my gosh, wait till we drop the stories that Dana Strum has of the old days in Hollywood when he was young and all that great stuff. He's an incredible storyteller, and so we want to release that as a special edition and make it longer. And there's some great stuff with him and Randy Rhoads and Ozzy together and all this kind of great, really, really cool stuff. So there's all this, and, we've got a lot of guys that are hammered, drunk on the cruise ship, and some guys can't finish their sentences. We had guys lining up outside our room where we had the cameras set up, and they couldn't even make the interview. They were falling down in the hallway from just not being able to.
Well, I don't know. Maybe that could be a source of funding. You have blackmail material now.
Oh, we've got plenty of that. Trust me. We thought about it, but we also said we don't want to do this and put people, in a bad way and make them look bad or make anybody feel bad about what they did. So we're all, comrades in trying to keep this music alive. And the last thing we want to do is mess people up. So yeah, but there is some fun stuff regardless.
Cool. Well, the Dana Strum one, that's a feather in your cap, because I and many other podcasters have tried for years to get that man to interview with us, and he does not do interviews. So I'm amazed you got him.
He unloaded. In fact, we went to him 3 times on the ship, and he kept saying no. And he was running 2 operations that week. He was running the whole Slaughter thing, right? Because he's the guy that deals with a lot of the business, and he was also running the whole business for Vince, who was on that cruise that week. And we were after getting, we really wanted to get Vince too. That was just a nightmare trying to get him locked down 3 minutes before he's stepping on stage, and he's hammered, And
no, not Vince Neil.
We got a couple of just enough. And in my opinion, it's just a shit show, but we'll end up putting it out there,
why not?
But we did convince Dana that, come on, this is gonna be a lot of fun, and we kind of who were not just some outside film crew, and used a few names and made sure he knew who we were, and he felt comfortable in doing it. So yeah, it was great. Other great ones we've got coming up are Y&T and Dave, cool. Really great interviews with them and some of those guys. So many of these guys are interchangeable. They were last night they played with this band, and tonight they're playing with this band, and everybody's helping each other try to get the music across. And so you got a lot of musicians who aren't defined, but yet doing all kinds of stuff, and we want to release all that too. Guy Joel Hoekstrom, I think is his name.
Joel Hoekstra,
Hoekstra, great guitar. So we're gonna do like a guitar series. We got all these great guys. What's the guy that was on the ship that day? Bumblefoot.
Oh yeah,
we did an interview with him. What a trip that guy is too. So. Yeah, there's some fun stuff. It's just a matter of whether those resonate with a broader audience, and we need to really reach them. And it's as you guys know with YouTube, once you hit a number, it's hard to get past that unless you've really got some help. And so we're working on that.
Well, we'll help you get about 5 more views. So I'm glad we could help.
Yeah, we were happy at first, like, wow, look at this thing. It's taking off. We're not really doing a whole lot with it, but it's working. And then we saw Mark Slaughter's views just skyrocketed, and then on the flip side, we're going to release one with George Lynch, that's going to go nuts. But you know what? Not so much. It's interesting where people have choices and what they like and don't like. We got a lot of these outside websites to pick it up, like Blabbermouth and Metal Sludge and quite a few of them. And there's even some in Brazil that picked it up. A lot of people love Mark Slaughter, and he's actually a great guy, man. I realize how smart these guys are too. They're super smart. And then we've got both sides of the spectrum without saying who's on the spectrum. You know what I mean? So
rock stars on the spectrum. Yeah, that sounds like a series in itself.
It's a trip.
Yeah, Mark Slaughter was one of the best interviews we ever had on our show, and we had to bounce to like 3 different restaurants to sit with him and talk, because all these restaurants were getting ready to close. And we wound up at an O'Charlie's out in Franklin, and we wound up like closing the place down. It was like an hour past the time they were closed, and we were like, "Are we holding you guys up?" And the waitresses knew who he was. They're like, "Oh no, stay as long as you want." But he was just super down to earth, and I've bumped into him a few times, and he's just one of the nicest people that there ever was.
He's a Nashville guy too, right? I remember him telling me that on the ship. So
but you got to tell me though, with Dana, did you get him to go into Vinnie Vincent stories?
He did some Vinnie Vincent stories. Nice. The greatest story though is his all night crazy run on I don't know what year it was. It had to be right around the time Ozzy was looking for his ultimate guitar player, and somebody told Ozzy Dana was the guy that knew where to go and who to find. And Ozzy, you have to hear it. It's a really, because Dana doesn't just tell a story. He impersonates those that he's talking. So he's doing Ozzy, and then he's doing Randy, and then he's doing Dana, and he's doing this whole thing, and you're watching it like some kind of live theater. And he's really cool. So we know that one is a gem. So we're gonna put that together. And I'm actually the one that's doing all the editing, Ron. That's I guess you asked that. So yeah, I'm the editor.
Okay, well you're hired and Ron's fired.
Yeah, I
can pay you in thank yous.
Yeah, I've got some great tools, and I've been editing for I don't know how many, a long time. So
we'll get into that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So going through these interviews, I guess, you probably go back a long ways with a lot of the guys you interviewed. Going back to the Wildside days, was it a bit of like a family reunion, getting to sit down with these guys again?
It was 2 things. One, it was a little strange. When we're in LA and we call up somebody and we say, "Look, we're going to set this up at the London Hotel," which is down the road from the Roxy, in West Hollywood, or the Rainbow, whatever you want to call it, the Sunset Strip, and maybe Rat is playing some Rainbow anniversary show, and we know about it, and so one of our producers will get in touch with the team and say, "Look, we're down the street. Can you come over and do this for us?" And so those kind of reunions were fun, and it was easy to do. When we got on the ship, it was bizarre, because I would run into people all day with this stupid headset on with a walkie-talkie, because I'm trying to wrangle someone who's, Jamie St. James, who's so fucked up the whole trip, we couldn't get him in, to do anything. And I got 3 guys on walkie-talkies, and I'm being stopped. "Hey, when are you going on?" I'm like, "I'm not here for that. Yeah, I'm sorry." And it was a weird, dynamic, because normally, we'd be there. In fact, Larry Moran had invited us to come and do the interviews, but also, put the show together. But Brent got sick. He didn't make the ship. He couldn't do the cruise. And so all of that got thrown out, and we ultimately ended up, just doing our job, which was to get on the boat and shoot the interviews. But I was envious. I was standing at the stage, watching these performances, saying, "Man, I wish, it'd be fun to get up there, even if it was just with any group, and belt out some kind of cover tune or have some fun with the crowd." But, honestly, we were so busy. I don't think I saw much of the boat the whole time. We were so busy with all these interviews, trying to get the work done. in a short amount of time. We knocked out, I don't know, 25, 30 different interviews, not to mention doing tons of fan interviews. We have, a whole week of fan interviews, going around talking to just anybody, about their experiences, being on the cruise so many times. And so we plan to edit and put together an entire show based on Monsters of Rock, and maybe give some of those folks who don't go on the ship an experience of what it's really like through the fans' eyes and through the crowd and the performances. We shot some great performances with Vince Neil, Slaughter, Kicks, YNT. We've got all these live multi-camera, as well as the big launch, when they push off the dock, and all the winger and all that stuff was going off. So it was a lot of fun to capture all that stuff.
Cool. Well, I hope for the fan thing you don't have Ron whipping his tits out, but I hope you edit that part out.
Yeah, right.
No, they tried to get me, and I had too many Jaeger bombs at that point.
He was in the jacuzzi right there on center stage, yeah.
Oh, geez. Well, can I bug you a little bit about some Wildside stuff?
Yeah.
Okay. So starting out.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I don't know if you've probably been asked this in interviews. The name Drew Hanna back in the day. How did you land on that name?
As a stepfather last name, and I didn't want to use my real name. Just decided it was young and maybe thought, it's better. And I stayed away from, my real name, my real last name. Drew is my name. But, and then over the years, again, I don't know, 100 years ago, when I used or created a Facebook page, I shortened it, and that's how I ended up with that, Drew Rose, and sort of stuck. And it's been so long, I don't really care anymore. Call me whatever you want. It's all. My kids make fun of me more than anything, because it's like, well, who are you today? And I often tell them that Drew Hanna protects Drew Rose. He looks after him. And there's two different people. I have a day job that I've been, in a different business for almost 20 years now, and so that that's where I use all my legal stuff, and it separates me from the rock stuff. So yeah,
right. So you and Benny came from Seattle, is that correct?
I'm a California born and raised guy, but my mother and as I said, the stepdad all decided to move up to Seattle when I was in sophomore in high school. And so Southern California was my home, where I grew up, but we moved up there and I met Benny. We lived in the same community. It was real small at the time. Now that community basically is Amazon. But the time we were, running around high school kids and getting in trouble. And he was a trumpet player in the school band. And I was a wannabe rock star, with my guitar and my voice. And we were inspired by what was going on in the early 80s and started to play music together, just the two of us, kind of in his bedroom or, in my garage or whatever. And then we found a drummer at a local music store, and when that store closed at night, we pushed the cabinets aside and pulled the blinds down, and nice. We played all night, and started to get more, I guess, get our shit together, and bringing in a bass player and all these musicians, and started to play all the bars and in the proms and all. Yeah, we were a cover band, and we were playing everything you name it, but our heart was in the hard rock stuff, and we would play hard rock for ourselves, but go out there and play Duran Duran at the prom. And and we got hooked, I mean, even those days we would play these, we'd try to make a show out of it and find all the girls up against the stage looking at us, and we were like, wow, this is fun, while the guys stood back with their hands on their hips all pissed off,
Right.
But those were we were in high school, and we were maybe just out of high school, and then we decided to take the thing into go check out California. We heard that's where it's all going on. So I knew LA. I had family, and we drove down and looked at it and went, wow, we need to move here, get back to this and start a band here. And we did. We got down there and went through 2 or 3 different bands and never worked out. And finally, it's where I heard Brent playing down the hall in another band. And and I convinced him to join our band. And he said, well, I think I can do both. Would you mind if I stay in this band and do your band? And I said, I don't care what you do. You're going to end up leaving them because this is going to be where you want to be. And and that ultimately happened. We were playing the Whiskey one night at a jam nights thing where I convinced him, let's go do this. You know, they have the drums are there, everything's set up. We just show up with the guitars and, you know, and then we do it. And so our, you know, at the time it was Young Guns, but it was an early version of that before Jimmy was in the band. And we did it. And Gene was there from Kiss and a couple of other people. I think Eric Turner and all these guys that we, you know, sort of met along the way. And there was a big time lawyer there that had just signed Love Hate. And so he got Love Hate, this huge Hollywood deal. And he told Brent, they knew each other. He told Brent, you got to drop that band and stick with Drew. This is going to go somewhere and I'll represent you guys. So we did. That's what we did. And that's when officially we really took off as a Hollywood band looking for a record deal.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the Young Guns thing, is it true that you guys got threatened with a lawsuit from the Hollywood studio that made you change your name?
Yeah, they sent, it was a big movie at the time. I guess they were working on the second movie, and you know, John Bon Jovi was writing music for it, and there was like a whole thing going on. We didn't know, you know, we were just a band that guys that, you know, came up with a name, and they sent a letter after we were signed, just after we got the record deal, because Capitol Record made a big announcement, and there was advertisements that we were signed and Capitol recording artists, and we were really proud of that and telling everybody. And then the letter basically said that they had the rights to the name, and rather than trying to fight for that, the label just said, you know, you guys should probably figure something else out, and that's what happened. So
were you guys like super distraught when that came down? Like, oh my God,
yeah,
change
because
our name now?
we weren't focused on name changes. We were focused on writing music. So then all of a sudden, you know, now where's our identity? You know, well, I guess it's in the music, so we don't care. You know, let's just call it whatever. And really, Wildside came out of just being whatever. We couldn't come up with names. At one point, Brent and I liked to name a lot. We were going to call the band Suicide Kings. Something that he saw on a deck of cards, and it was a great name, and we were really convinced that might be cool, but everyone was worried about at that time the word suicide, you know, and what does that mean? And of course today it wouldn't be nothing, it wouldn't be no big deal, but back then it was a big, you know, statement. So you know, again, it was let's call it this, and that's what we ended up with, and we probably should have gave it a little more thought. Because I never liked the name, and it is what we got. Everybody said, "Wilds, oh, you got that name from Motley Crue," because obviously, you know, that record came out in the very late '80s, and it was so big, you know. So
that's still a cool band name, in my opinion. I don't mind it.
Yeah.
Oh man, but yeah. So I mean, it's you know, and then you guys did all the you know, all the clubs. You did the Whiskey Gazaris and all those places. So, you know, I'm a child of Tennessee, and I grew up watching Decline 2 on MTV when they would run it, and I like, my dream was like, damn, imagine being in the middle of all that, you know, like, so just describe for me the majesty of how amazing that scene was at that time.
You know, it's great. When we were doing these interviews, those were part of the questions, and you can see them on all those drops that we've been putting out there, that all these guys have a very similar experience that we had. But I was just talking about it with Jimmy this morning, because we were catching up on what we're going to be, you know, editing next, or what's going to happen next. And you know, Jimmy was in a band similar to what we were doing. He was, I forget the name. They were doing all this different, putting out flyers and going into Hollywood. He lived in the Inland Empire, and which is San Bernardino. Mm-hmm. So he would caravan with his buddies and the bandmates and go into Hollywood, similar to us, and just plaster those flyers up with those staple hammers, and there would be, all the light poles would have Poison or Warrant or some of the up and coming bands at the time, and we would go, fuck these guys, and put our poster right over the top of theirs. And you come back into Hollywood the next morning or the next night all proud of that you've got Young Guns billboards everywhere, and they were gone because someone else covered up ours with their band, and it was just a constant war. And then you would stand out there for hours handing out flyers, but a lot of times that was just an excuse to meet girls. You're standing out there, and all the girls are coming up to you in the stilettos and the vinyl shorts and skirts, and it was all just about where are we going to stay tonight, and who are we going to stay with, and hand out your flyers. And then it started to get serious, like I think when Brent really got in the band and he and I started writing music, we were approached by a manager who said, look, you guys should stop all that. I was working I had like a semi-Hollywood job. I was a production assistant for a TV show at the time called The Love Connection. It was like a game show.
The dating show?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
so
I used to watch that.
Yeah, well, you have to
Chuck Woolery.
You're as old as me then, okay? Because that's an old show.
I'm old.
I was sort of like, Chuck's runner. Chuck needed smokes. He needed this. He needed lunch. I was running around, and when we would shoot those shows, that was my gig. And so I was.
We'll be back in two and two.
Yeah. Right. And he came off as a nice guy, but he was a real prick. And
was he?
Oh yeah.
Chuck Woolery stories. Let's go. Come on.
Yeah. Special donuts, and I don't light my cigarettes with a lighter. I need a match. You never light a cigarette with a lighter. These kind of little nuances. And but I was told, stop all the work. Brent was doing some other kind of probably some shit job, and I'll pay for you guys to stay home and write music. That's all I want you to do is write music, and I'll tell you if the music's any good. We had a little 8-track player, 8-track recorder in the house. Brent and I lived together in Hollywood. We made sure to get an apartment that had a balcony that looked right out over Capitol Records, and it was the tower was right there. We would step out on our balcony and dream about it every night. And we actually had no idea we'd get signed to Capitol. We were offered a record deal to Polygram first, and we were sort of like, what do we do, at both labels, and that was a good position to be in. But when he told us stop everything and I'll pay for it, don't worry, I'll get my money back later, that's somebody who believed in our music and what we were up to. So we started writing, and one of the very first songs we wrote was Hang On Lucy, and sorry about that. And
that was Chuck Woolery calling to.
What the hell, man? That's how we had a relationship. Yeah. No. And it just kind of took off from there. And the truth is, we spent so much time in Hollywood and trying to build up an audience and get ourselves to a position where we were getting noticed by labels. And once we got that record deal, it was like there was no Hollywood. We weren't there anymore. We didn't go down to Hollywood. We didn't go to the clubs. Everything was about focusing on getting the music together, writing more music. We flew to Canada to write with some, hit songwriters, that this guy named Jim Balance, who wrote all these hit songs,
he wrote stuff with Bryan Adams.
He wrote a ton with Bryan Adams. They were like writing partners, and he did, a ton of stuff on Aerosmith's Pump record,
That's right.
all that stuff.
Great writer.
Kind of a nerdy guy, but this incredible, 24-track studio in his home in the middle of nowhere up in Vancouver. And, he was amazing. So, we got up there and we wrote with him, and it just didn't click. We weren't collaborating the right way, just that what he wrote for us. If I would have played for you guys, you go, oh, that's a great song. It's too bad, Steven Tyler didn't sing that one, because it is a Aerosmith song that I'm trying to crowbar my voice into, and it just didn't work, So, but we we also wrote with Paul Stanley, as I think you know that too, right? Yeah,
I know you did, but I don't know a lot of the details about it. Like, I mean, how did that writing, did you do just one session with him, or was it like several times?
There was a few times. I think, after a while, we just decided one song made sense. The rest of the stuff didn't really come together the right way. So he was happy with just the one. Paul was really busy trying to increase his writing library outside of KISS. Yeah. He had formed a new music publishing group, and was trying to build some sort of library of music together, and working with other artists. And our management was close with KISS, and that's how all that came together. And we started writing a lot, and ultimately came out with the one tune. I stepped out of it after a while. I let Brent do it more because they're two guitar players. I felt like I was in a room trying to, get something together with these two guys. And at some point, Paul just said, look, I got a melody. I'm going to put some lyric to it, and I'll work the music out with Brent, and you guys decide if you like it. And Brent brought it to me, and I listened to it, and I rewrote some parts and changed the some of the melody and the pitch, so that it didn't sound like a KISS song, so much. And that was Clock Strikes. So that's how that ended up getting on the record, and we were really proud of that song. And it was we got to build a nice little relationship with those guys for a while. They were with us for most of the recording at A&M Records, because that's the recording studio in Hollywood we did all the basic tracks at. And that's at the time KISS was doing a bunch of recording at that studio. So, we were fucking around with Gene, who's a character, by the way, a super funny guy. And like, kind of, we all know Gene's full of himself, but beyond that, he's a really funny guy, and obviously a brilliant genius, and an amazing businessman. And so I remember having a conversation with Gene about a name for the band. We're still nameless at this time,
right?
And he comes in, he sits down in the studio lounge, and we're having this conversation about it. And he goes, "What are you guys talking about?" And we said, "Well, we don't have a name. We're figuring out what to call ourselves." And he says, "Well, I got a name for you, but if I tell you the name, that means that I'm going to get a piece of this."
Oh,
and I said,
"I'm going to say, I hope he didn't come up with the name."
No, he didn't come up. But he said, the name has to be like 2 words, like this. It can't be 1 word. That's over. And I go, "Well, you're KISS. What are you talking about? 1 word." He's like, "Yeah, but that was a time. That's a different time. Yeah, it's got to be these 2 words." I remember just him looking at me and trying to convince me that it's got to be these 2 words. And then he says, "But I got the name. So just let me know that if you like it, we have a gentleman's agreement that somewhere in there, I'm going to get a piece of this action." And I said, "Well, okay, let's hear the name." And he says, "Okay, you ready?" I said, "We're ready." I think it was Benny, me, and Brent. Yeah, Brent, Benny, and myself sitting there. And he says, "Okay." He's got his hands up. And he goes, "Wet Engine."
Wet Engine?
I said, "That's the name of the band?" He goes, "Wet Engine." And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, okay. Well, don't worry about getting a piece of it, because that sucks." And he said, No, you have to imagine. Okay, check it out. Here's the cover. He goes, "It's a big, huge, what do you call those
locomotive?
Trucks? A locomotive, or like one of those, trucks, big truck that hauls those huge, 18-wheel, whatever.
Yeah, semi.
Semi-truck,
big semi truck." And he goes, "And on the cover is this girl, and she's topless, and her arms are back, and she's made out of metal, and she's like your ornament." And it says, "Wet Engine."
Yeah, it's not getting any better with the description.
Yeah. So every time we ran into Gene for quite a while, which was a lot, he'd say, "Wet Engine," and we just walk past him, whatever, So it was a lot of fun hanging out with those guys.
He's almost describing like a Crocus album cover or something.
Yeah,
like that,
something a little dated, right?
Yeah, it's
even
very
for
1985.
then, yeah. And this was this was clear into 91 at that time. We left A&M and we went up to record the rest of the record up at 5150.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. Yeah.
That Wet Dynamite's better than Wet Engine. I'm sure.
There you go. Yeah. But we did.
Unfortunately, nobody else took him up on that either.
Yeah.
I would have liked to have seen that album cover just for the hell of it, but I wouldn't wish that upon any band.
I was with Dean at the Whiskey one night. We were watching some music on the stage. I couldn't tell you what it was, but they have TV screens all over the Whiskey at that time, and they were playing, MTV. And Alice in Chains had just released the Dirt record. Oh no, it was what was the first
Facelift?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Man in the Box.
Yeah,
and that was the first video that was out, and it was up there, and you couldn't hear it, but you're watching it. And the corner of the screen has got the name of the band. They do the credit thing and all that in the corner. And he says to me, he grabs me, he goes, "See, look up there." And this is again, we're trying to figure out a name, and he goes, "That name is a terrible name. Alice in Chains, they will never go anywhere with that name." And I'm like, 2 strikes for Gene,
Nostra dumbass.
Yeah, but that's my Gene stories.
Although you think Alice in Chains would be a name that Gene would like. It sounds like a porn name,
Right?
Alice in Chains.
Yeah.
Sounds like it's right up Gene's alley, personally.
Yeah,
kind of like Demon in Socks.
I always thought when I heard Alice in Chains that it was like some kind of perverted storybook.
Yeah.
Like some kind of not Alice in Wonderland, but Alice in Chains, so.
Yeah. Well, I was going to ask you, cause you were in that Seattle scene for a little while. Were you around when those guys were a glam band up there?
Yeah. Just, we were all rehearsing at the same sort of, broken down, West Seattle warehouse.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And there was a lot of bands playing, and they, I forget the name they were under at the time, but they were, I want to say something like Slaughterhouse, or there was a couple of different names they were running, they were doing. And there was an underground scene that we just didn't lock into, and we weren't ready yet either. Benny and I weren't in a band that I felt like we could really make something happen at that time. We had to get to LA and really kind of, make a lot of mistakes before we finally made the right choices.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you see that Seattle scene blowing up, a few years down the road? You could see it was coming? We saw it was coming. As a matter of fact, we were mixing our record with a couple guys that do a lot of Thompson Barriero mix. They even mixed, GNR record, the first one. I mean, just these guys are, so we were all together, and they had a sort of a promo release of Nirvana, the bigger release, not the independent stuff, but the bigger release. And they played it for us in the studio while we were in the middle of finishing our record. And we all kind of thought, wow, I don't know if we're fucked or not, but oh wow,
I guess we got to release this record anyway, and because everything was heading in that direction, we saw it coming. We knew we had to get our record not only done but out and get it moving along, And unfortunately, the label sat on it really long, and we were done with that record in 91 early, and they didn't release it until May of 92. Had they done that a year earlier, it probably would have been a different situation. But time, we didn't realize time was such a factor, and we sat around without a record and finally went out on the road with not even a record to support us, opening for an amazing band, Four Horsemen.
Oh yeah, I remember. A great band. Yeah.
Did a tour with those guys and fell in love with all the guys in the band and of course their music and kind of cut our teeth on how to really play on the road with those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the Under the Influence album is just so good from top to bottom, and there's a glut of great records from those early 90s that got lost in the shuffle. That it's one of those things where like bands like Spread Eagle, you guys, Warrior Soul, there was a ton of great stuff being made, and it wasn't all just sex stuff like it really kind of got to the height of in the late 80s. It was songs and lyrical matter that actually had substance to them, and they were great songs. Or Tora Tora, Roxy Blue. There was like so many great bands from that era that just got lost in the shuffle. And that we try to champion that stuff on our show, because it's just like, if you were only listening to the radio and only watching what MTV was feeding you, you were missing out on a lot of great music.
Yeah, I agree, man. All these years later, whenever I hear somebody say, "Hey, that was a great record," or it was too bad it got squashed by what was going on in the business side of music at that time, I try to do a little research, dig it up, and listen to it myself to see if I missed out. And more than not, I did. I didn't hear it. At the time, I was so busy, I didn't hear the Spread Eagle record when it was released, or any of them. And then years later, listening to it, going, wow, this was good stuff, Yeah.
And
I think there was a lot of mistakes going on back then. We made a lot of mistakes, started to blame each other. We could have taken that album and gone to Europe and just spent a lot of time touring and focusing on it. The label didn't drop us. They did not. They said, just come home. Let's start working on a second record. And we were so young and so screwed up on drugs, quite honestly, that we didn't make good business decisions. We howled off, "Fuck you, we're leaving here, we'll go find another label." And it just, those things don't happen that easily. So things kind of got out of control. I got really, really bummed about where things were going, and got deeper into the drug scene, got deeper into making friends I had no business being around, that were also kind of like some horrible drug movie. Where am I? What am I doing here? Why does this guy have a gun? And what's going on? And that happened for a couple of years. And when I popped my head up like a gopher out of a hole to see where I've been, everything had changed, and it was time to make new decisions about where I was going with my life. And just music wasn't a part of it at that moment.
Yeah. Well, and it's comes up a lot in interviews with people from your era when all that stuff switched over. And, there's the famous Janie Lane interview where he's talking about how, 1 week he goes in, they're promoting Cherry Pie. The next week it's Alice in Chains at the record label. And then
that's right.
I don't remember, somebody did an interview recently where or maybe it might have been one of you were in it. I read and listen to so many interviews, I get them mixed up. Might have been Mark Slaughter. Yeah, it was Mark Slaughter on your thing on your video channel, saying where it's like, it was not so much the band shifting over. It was more of like where MTV was placing priority, because like anyone who's wasn't around back then don't realize that MTV was like the most powerful media platform for rock music, of all. It was bigger than radio, it was bigger than everything, and it pushed record sales just massively. And do you agree with that sentiment that MTV is like, we're shifting focus to grunge, and then we're just going to screw all these other guys?
Yeah, he brought up a really great point at that time that I had may have, forgotten or just didn't, it was just one of those things that I knew I was aware of it, because I remember having a discussion with management where we were going to fly to New York to see. Right when the record was about to drop, it was important for us to get out there and meet all the big shots at MTV, because, that was just what you do. So rather than the whole band go, it was just going to be me and the manager. We flew to New York, and we made the rounds. We went to the Capitol offices in New York and met all these people. And then it was a big night out going with all the MTV folks. And as well, we met with some people from the Canadian version of that called Much Music, so there was like all this going on for
Mary
supportive, getting our music onto MTV, and where it actually only wound up being a video played on Ricky Rackman's show at the time. And we got some rotation on there, and it was fun to see all that, but we never really, because we were right on the cusp, and all those things were changing, and he's definitely on point. It was a business decision in the industry. And it's funny, we booked a show. We were off the label, officially, unofficially, whatever. We were off the label, and we were being booked by one of the largest booking agencies in the world, creative artist agencies. These guys handle like the A-list of actors and the A-list of artists all over the world, and we were fortunate enough to be there. We were juniors, but we were there, and they were booking us and trying to get our careers moving along. But the second they heard the news they called and said, oh, we can't keep you guys. Everything was like a tumbling domino effect. And so now, we don't even have an agency, but we need to get out on the road. So I got on the phone and I pretended I was an agent from CAA.
Wow.
This is Mr. Rosenfeld. And, sounds like an agent, right? A Jewish guy out of, whatever, right? So I get on there, and Benny's watching me do this. I did it all day long, and I booked an entire tour as if it were CAA calling, and I got us on the road back doing tours with our tour bus and our whole deal, literally 6 months after we were done off the label.
Wow.
No one knew it, though. The club scenes didn't know it. The festivals didn't know it. These guys don't know that stuff yet. It didn't travel like it would today. There was no, internet speed of things happening, So I remember we were playing a Summerfest in Milwaukee, and we were headlining one night. I think it was like Rat was playing the night before us or after us, and we were playing one night, and we were headlining. We were the big ticket. It's about 6,000, 7,000 people. And it was a really special show for us because we were, hoping to keep our name out there and try to get a new deal and all that. And the promoter comes up to me 20 minutes before into our trailer, and he says, hey, I just got the news that somebody said you're not on Capitol anymore. I looked around, I said, oh yeah, it doesn't matter. We'll find a new home. And he says, no, man, I mean, that's not cool. If I'd have known that, man, I mean, I feel like, you should have told me that. So clearly, all these things that started to happen were just, if you're not associated to a label or back then, I think it's different now, but back then, it was a really, but that's how I kept us on the road, by pretending I was somebody else. That only lasted for a while. But
it's still brilliant on your part to take that initiative to do that, though. I mean, it took balls to do that.
We needed to make money and pay ourselves and pay a crew and pay the bus guy and the bus people and the driver and all that stuff. And it takes a lot of money to do that. I admire when I see like Tammy do that with his, rock and roll circus, and gets out there and does that, when the touring was happening, and he likes to tour the right way, and they do it. So,
wow, that's awesome. Well, we've been on about an hour with you, but I wanted to thank you for coming on and promoting the 80s Metal Recycle Bin. Just go to YouTube, look up 80s Metal Recycle Bin. That's the best way to find it.
Yeah, it's on the YouTube thing. You can find it on Facebook. It's also called 80s Bin on Twitter. So, it's there as well. We're working on some other place to have, I don't know, TikTok and all these other, dude, this stuff is for young kids. I got it. I don't know all the angles, but I'm working on it. So, well,
you're doing a hell of a job with it. And of course, on my behalf, thank you for Under the Influence, because it's a great record. And I know Ron agrees with me, but we are going to segue into Rockin' Pod stuff after we get off with you. You came in 2018. We were glad to have you. Obviously want to extend the invite to come back this August, because we're doing it again here in Nashville. Would you be up for coming back?
Absolutely, man. Do you really think it's happening? You think it's gonna go down? I mean, I know Tennessee is a lot looser than some of the other spots, so it may make sense, but I don't know. If you're there and everybody's cool, right on. I'll come by.
That's the goal. Obviously got to watch the numbers and the safety part of this.
I know that you guys got to run, but I got to tell you a funny story about Rockin' Pod. Last time we did this, I did it. And I think it was the last time you had the show, right?
No, we had it in 2019. You came in 2018.
I did.
Oh no, you came last year in 2019 also.
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, you've been twice. Yeah. Sorry, I run around like a crazy person.
He came in 2018, but he just wasn't a guest.
Yeah, that was when it was at the bar. That was when it was more at the bar kind of deal, right? And I hooked up with a bunch of people that I knew there, and I had a good time just kind of hanging out. And then it became a little more official at the larger venue, right?
Yeah, at the Marriott. That's right.
So the one at the Marriott, you kind of had me set up with a lot of different podcasts, right? You came over and you go, here's your schedule, and there's stuff going on. So One of this guy, I just have to tell you because we never talked about this. I sit down. This guy gives me a headset, and has a little mic put in front of me, and he's got a guy next to him, and he says, "Okay, hey, listen, so we're gonna start this thing, but I got to tell you, I never heard of Wildside." I said,
Oh God.
"Oh yeah." He says, no, man, I really apologize, but hey, I got some time, and they said you guys were interested in doing my show, and I don't know, I heard you did some song with Kiss, and I don't know, you want to talk with me? Is that cool? And I said, yeah, sure, man. Yeah, let's do it. So I said, where does your show, broadcast? And he had a whole list of stuff, right? But I couldn't even tell you what the name of his show is either. So, so we're kind of even there,
It was Talk to Me.
What was it?
Was it really Talk to Me?
No, I don't know. No. But
I'm gonna give him shit if it was.
There was several of them that did know, and we had a great talk, and it was fun. But this guy, so he's asking questions. Jimmy's sitting next to me, and Jimmy didn't want to go on mic. He's just observing, and the guys asked me, so when are you guys out on the road, or what's the plan? This is back again, everybody's touring. I go, oh yeah, actually we're going to be out next month with Def Leppard. We're going to be, I fed this guy so much bullshit because he had no clue who we were, and would have taken so.
Well, I apologize on that.
No. I wasn't doing it to get an apology. I was doing it because it was funny. It was a funny story for me. So yeah. Who are you again? But yeah, I'll interview you, man.
Oh jeez. All right. Well, that will not happen this year. So.
No worries. Yeah.
I'll be there, so I'll go around to everybody and
educate them
and give them the whole Wildside spiel before you ever come up.
You do that. Thank you.
Ron's your advanced man.
I love it, Ron. Thank you. Well, thanks, guys. This was fun. Always.
Yeah, man. It's great to have you on, and we'll be in touch about the expo. But yeah, we'll continue to promote 80s Metal Recycle Bin. Guys, make sure you go on there, subscribe to the channel, give it a like, because that means a lot in YouTube land. And
subscribing
do it for
is
our
everything.
show too.
I found out.
And do that. Help share those videos because they're really great interviews, and I can't wait for the Dana Strum one. I'm definitely
that's
excited
a cool
for that.
one. Right on. Well, thank you for having me, guys. Have a great show, and
thanks a lot, Drew. Right. Hope to see you at Rockin' Pod
for sure, Ron.
You take care.
All right, guys. Cheers. Bye.
All right, good guy.
Well, that was pretty awesome.
Yeah, that was fun. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Toomey's chiming in saying it's Cobras and Fire. I don't think it's Cobras and Fire. They would have got a good laugh out of the Def Leppard thing, though. I'm sure of that. Ron will drink all the alcohol in advance. Yeah, that's
that's true.
Oh man, too funny. Paul Hair Jim. I don't think you've been on our stream before. Hey, thanks for tuning in, Paul. Hope you'll tune in next week. Where I don't know what we're gonna do. We definitely have we didn't have much planned tonight. We wanted to talk to Drew about his channel, and other than that, we're just gonna go loose. I don't have a smash or trash or anything special set up today, but I think that interview went pretty good though. That was fun.
Yeah, I had a bunch of questions written down in that, but those are.
I hope I didn't.
Those are the best kind of No, well, everything you said was I had written down as well, but yeah, we didn't even go into a lot of things because he had such great stories. So it's always great interviews when you get somebody that you just ask a question and they can tell you a bunch of cool stories for a while.
I love the love connection thing. That was a trip.
That was a trip.
Picturing Drew getting donuts for Chuck Woolery. That's awesome. Oh man, we need real rock back. Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff out there still. You just got to dig for it. Listen to the best of 2020. A lot of new stuff too. Excuse me.
Well, he's right. It's a shame that that happened. That was the story with a lot of them right around that time. That that was the case. MTV and everything just turned things around like overnight. And
literally
there was a lot of cool bands that came out right around that time, and unfortunately they were one and done, because it changed it all around, right? At the bad timing of that. And
yeah, I still remember hanging out at my girlfriend's house and seeing the premiere of the Nirvana Smells Like Teen Spirit video when it first came on.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yep. I saw the premiere of that, and then a few years before that, it may have just been a Headbangers Ball premiere, but it was listed as a world premiere for Welcome to the Jungle. I remember seeing that too. But I remember watching Smells Like Teen Spirit and going, it didn't do a lot for me at the time. It had to grow.
And that's where Guns N' Roses was able to survive that. One, because they came out a little bit earlier.
Mm-hmm. Well, they were a bit of a shift, in and of themselves, because it was Motley Crue, once they did Theater of Pain, they brought that whole slicked up look in, and everybody copied them. And then it was in Poison, of course, you can't forget them. But then Guns N' Roses came out, and they just like, well, we're just going to look like a bunch of junkies and play what we want. Although Axl did have his hair teased pretty sky high on that Welcome to the Jungle video, so they were a little
they were a little glammed out with the Welcome to the Jungle, and then
they dropped it quick.
They dropped it real quick, and I think that's what probably saved them is they didn't have the whole quote unquote hair band.
Thank you, David.
Look in that. Hey, David. And but these bands that came out thinking that was the thing.
Ron's wearing tight pants, Mighty K. But yes, so let's you want to transfer into some Rockin' Pod talk as we'll watch the numbers steeply decline. But it's not. We try not to make it too much of an infomercial for you guys. But so Ron put this really cool video together of some footage from previous years. So you want to fire that off real quick?
And I did this real quick, but wanted to kind of highlight some of the guests that you've announced and some of the ones that you've announced this week.
Yeah, we'll talk.
Because I know we announced a few last week, but then you've added more, and of course, you got many more coming.
I've got a big one to probably announce next week. Can't say it tonight, though.
Yeah, I know how you are.
All right, let's watch the video.
You're just nothing but a rock tease. A Rockin' Pod tease. All right, let me find the damn video. Where is it?
You want me to play it? I got it.
All right, here we go. All right, here's a little highlights of the first couple of years with some of the guests, and that give you an idea of what Rockin' Pod's about a little bit here.
My name is Aaron Camaro. Today we are here to celebrate rock music, yes?
Bunch of studs in those pictures. Very cool.
I didn't get any of me in there. What are you talking about?
I rest my case. Ooh, Rock and Roll Podcast, you're going to come? Awesome, man. Register your podcast. Be a part of the whole thing.
Great, yeah.
as Grayson is the big surprise guest, Hollywood Poonie. He's not the big guest, but I would certainly love to have him back. He's been the last 3 years, so I'd love to see him. But yeah, I haven't heard yet from him this year. Eric Lousier in the house, still wearing that awesome T-shirt. Very cool. But yeah, so let's go over.
Well, as people see from that that video, that's what's really cool about Rockin' Pod is, you're not really in the classic meet and greet.
No, it's a hang
cattle line or anything of meeting your favorite rock stars. They're just all hanging out. It's, you just go up and talk to them, have conversations with them, along with the podcasters and everybody else there. It's just a big party.
Yep. So let's go over some of the most recent announcements. We just announced today our good friend Gary Corbett, ex-Kiss and Cinderella keyboard player, is going to be coming
Great
back.
Guy.
Yeah, I can't wait to see Gary again. And he's some people, you rock fans may not realize that the song She Bop is co-written by Gary Corbett for Cyndi Lauper. And he wants me to make it clear he did not write the lyrics, because the song that's Cindy's job. Also announced this week, good friend Jason Beeler is coming back.
Oh, I remember him.
Excited to see him. Yeah, he's familiar to you guys on the live.
I think I just talked to him a couple of weeks ago.
Yes, you did. And that photo actually taken by Angela Newman, who took photos at Rockin' Pod last time in 2019. That photo's from then.
Cool.
And then also our friend Christopher Williams, drummer for Accept, is going to come back. Excited to see him again. And anyone who got to come to Rockin' Pod 1, he owns Peter Criss's reunion tour drum set, and he had it on display at Rockin' Pod 1, and I'm trying to convince him to bring it back this year.
Right. Yeah, that was really cool.
And of course, our good friend Drew Fortier, Zen from Mars, was in Bang Tango. Did a great Bang Tango. If you want to see a great documentary, go on YouTube, look up the Bang Tango Attack of Life documentary. And also previous live stream guests, and his film with David his film Dwellers is about to come out, and his book with David Ellefson, Rockstar Hitman: The Sledge Chronicles, is out now.
So that means I won't be the only baby-faced looking guy there.
Yeah, we'll go with that, Ron. Also recently announced Walter Egan. So some of you that are into 70s kind of AM gold will remember his song Magnet and Steel. It's also in the movie Boogie Nights, if you didn't know. And
was that with Stevie Nicks?
There's definite Stevie Nicks stories there. You can ask him, not me.
I already did.
Oh, great.
I'm looking forward to some more, though.
He's a good guy.
No, he's a good guy.
He was a guest the first year, so it'll be cool to see him again. Of course, Sandy Gennaro, our good friend who played drums for Kiss fans in Blackjack with Bruce Kulick, and also with Joan Jett and Pat Travers and Bo Diddley and Cyndi Lauper and the Monkees. And speaking of the Monkees, John Billings, who played bass with the Monkees, and Rick Springfield and Donna Summer and several other people. He's coming. So, yeah, these are some of the guests. I've got more coming. Of course, don't forget Resist and Bite. Tommy Scio, formerly of Tesla's new band, they are going to be at the Expo, and they're going to perform at the pre-party. So that's going to be a fun show. And
I haven't met him, so I'm looking forward to that.
One of the most fun interviews we did in the past year was with Tommy out at the studio in Kentucky.
Yeah, I remember that episode. That was a really good episode.
Albums Unleashed for Psychotic Supper. That was a lot of fun.
So to answer your question here, Grayson, definitely all ages.
All ages until we start the midget porn strip show, and then that's 18 and over. But you can.
Well, that's only at the after hours.
Yeah, that's the after party, the after party. And don't forget, good friend Ron Keel, the Metal Cowboy, returns this year. He was part of it in 2018. New interview with him coming out on Decibel Geek in the next few days. And then I'm excited for this one. Don Jameson from That Metal Show and stand-up comedy, and has that Jameson show on Anthony Cumia's network. Don's going to be performing comedy. We're working out a comedy show. We're working out a movie screening. I'm not going to share any more details about that because some stuff's up in the air. But he's also going to do that Jameson show live at Rockin' Pod. So I'm super stoked to meet him. And then there's more.
So maybe I can get him to let me stand in for Eddie Trunk then.
Why not? It'll be that who? David, Aaron's on leave tonight.
I'm Eddie drunk.
He's had a brutal week at work, so he needed a break. So he's taking it easy tonight. What is this, Kristen Schimbeck? I swear to God, her mother should be fighting to be part of this. Yeah. Well, we're working on it.
That's a lot of words there, especially when they haven't been able to tour this past year. They'd be crazy not to be a part of this.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, I agree.
You send Ozzy Osbourne an email and say, "Hey, go to Rockin' Pod." But no, we're working on some big names that should be coming down the pike. It's just a matter of planning and getting people's schedules worked.
Well, I know I heard a rumor that.
Don't do it, Ron.
Of course, you can't confirm, so I'll just say it's a rumor now. But I heard that at Rockin' Pod, Kiss is going to get together and do their absolutely final show at the upcoming Rockin' Pod with all the past members, except for Vinny, of course. As soon as they saw this guy here, where am I?
I want to rock and roll all night and party every day.
That's the only member of Kiss that'll be showing up.
Then they said, "Yeah, we got to do that. That guy's going to be there."
Yeah, they can't wait to visit with you. And also, of course, I got to stress: stay at the hotel. We need to book your room through rockinpod.com. Click on the hotel link. Book your hotel room, because those hotel rooms pay for our venue space. And if we don't pay for the venue space, it's a lot of money. So please do that. Stay at the hotel. There's a big reason. You will support the future of the event if you do that. Oh, boy.
Why wouldn't you? Because all the rock stars are going to be in the hotel. And, as Aaron said, when you're crawling to your room, you just have to go up the elevator or something. So you don't have to worry about Uber or nothing like that.
You want to confirm that you and Kristen are going to be singing Islands in the Stream while looking longingly into each other's eyes?
Islands in the Stream. No, we can't pay for that, so I won't sing it.
You don't get a copyright strike for $10. She says you're going to be doing a set, so.
Ooh. Yeah, sure thing, Kay. You bet.
Oh boy, time to do. I'll let Ron take a big swig for both of us. I'm not drinking tonight.
I mentioned the double V. All right, I deserve that.
The price including the hotel? Well, the hotel's priced separately, Eric. But tickets they're as cheap as like $25. So and then you can get VIP or whatever if you want to go higher than that, get more benefits out of it. But tickets are not very expensive. So, the hotel's the biggest part of it though. But yeah, hope you'll come this year, man. Oh boy, she's gonna be leading to your Ozzy.
Uh-oh.
Going off the rails already.
Well, that's something to look forward to.
Yeah. But I don't know.
Get enough Jaeger in me, and who knows? I might be like Camaro and sing 2,000 Man. So
that was a classic performance. Is that available on YouTube? I don't remember.
Yes, it is. That was the one I was trying to get a clip of at the last minute, and I couldn't get it to go. But
he's gonna issue a takedown notice on his own video.
Yeah.
He wasn't happy. His voice was shot at the end of the day that day after talking on mic all day long. So he cut him some slack. But I don't know.
I'm going to get that clip up for next week though, just because you guys play that clip of me singing so many times. I want somebody else to feel the pain.
You're really going to piss him off if you do that, Ron.
How come you never got up there?
Because I'm smart.
Oh, come on. Aaron is proud of that.
I was supposed to play a Ramones song, and then I wound up being so burnt out at the end of the day, and my daughter wanted to go home, and my wife was like, I'm going to take Hannah home, and I was like, no, I'm going to take her home, because I had to get out of the craziness for like an hour just because it had been such a crazy day. And then the next thing, and I forgot all about the jam, and then I'm like halfway home with my daughter, and Aaron calls me and goes, where are you? You're supposed to be on stage playing. And I was like, oh shit, I forgot.
Oops.
So I didn't get to perform. And every year I duck out of performing, not intentionally, it just doesn't work out. But I really should try to do it. I can play a little bit of guitar. I sure as fuck ain't going to be singing, I'll tell you that much.
Well, you are always running around like crazy.
I got to actually experience more of the Expo in 2019 than I ever had before, though, because I had a lot of great people helping me out with it. So I was still busy, but I actually got to experience more of it this past time. So I'm hoping to do more of the other.
Well,
this year,
I hope that's the case this time, because that's what I said as well. I was running around constantly with shooting video and doing interviews and working too much.
Yeah. Eric, the last one throughout the day total was probably around a little over 500, I think, by the time the day was over with. So yeah, it's grown a little bit each year.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not like a Comic-Con with, tens of thousands, but hopefully one day, but yeah, not just yet. It's which, we'll see how things go as we get towards August, but I got my fingers crossed that things will, get closer to normal.
Well, that was kind of my point earlier that,
yeah,
I went to Comic-Cons a couple of times, and that was just, to meet any of the guests at Comic-Con or something like that, you would have to stand in a long line. You had to pay like $100 for a autograph picture or something like that. And it's just a pain in the ass. And, you get 10 seconds to walk in and shake their hand maybe and get your autograph, and then you're out the door. The cool thing about Rock and Pod is that's not the case. They're all hanging out. They're, you can of course get autographs and things like that. And of course there's also a lot of vendors there.
Yeah.
You get merchandise, you get t-shirts, you get vinyl albums that you could have people sign. And
we're going to have some different stuff this year too. I've got I've got one artist coming who, like, you've heard of Heavy Metal Magazine.
Yeah.
If you saw the covers, like he's a guy who does the art for a lot of the covers of Heavy Metal Magazine. He's going to be on site. And
I know
another
movie.
Artist. Yeah, but the same franchise, but. And then also a guy who does it's like splatter painting, speed painting. He's going to be there doing it live. So he'll be doing like portraits of rock stars and stuff, and you can actually watch him do it. It'll be pretty cool.
Oh, I might have to try that.
What was this Grayson say?
I can do some splatter painting.
There's a good restaurant in the hotel, Grayson. Come on out. You're going to do splatter? I don't know. Yeah, well, I guess if we give you enough Jaeger, then that'll be easy to do.
Just put a paintbrush in my hand and let me fall down a few times. I can splatter.
It's going to be a weird shade of yellow.
I don't even want to know where you were going with that.
No, Grace is not the Kiss painter, different guy. I can't afford the Kiss painter. The worst opening act I've ever seen. That was so. I mean, it was cool that they auctioned off the paintings for charity and everything. I like the sentiment of that, but it was just like, you might as well just play music over the PA system if you're going to go this route, or at least have give a band a chance to play.
Yeah, I didn't see that, but I seen some videos of it, and it's like, really, you're having a painter open up, like, here's some happy trees.
Yeah. No, I don't think I can book Bob Ross, not without doing a seance and having lots of advances in medical technology. Oh man.
Oh, that's the only painter I have reference for.
Yeah, we do cosplay. Ron, you should dress up as the chief guy, and that'll be your cosplay.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, might look something like that.
Oh, they do that at the second Woodstock. Okay, well, hopefully we don't have any riots and fires at Rocket Pod, but or a mudslide. But yeah, I don't know what else, guys. Give us some stuff to talk about. We're pretty much tapped out for stuff to talk about tonight. I don't have a smash or trash, and or otherwise, I think we might get out of here a little early. Or anything you wanted to touch on, Ron?
I don't know.
That's why you're the best color man in the business, Ron.
Hey, I said I had a rough week too, so I didn't really get to prepare.
Yeah, I like those bands. We might be talking to one of them. I'm not sure yet. We're still working on stuff, but
yeah, I seen Liliac here in Denver. That awesome.
Love the New Accept. New Accept is a great record, and I think
it is.
I think our buddies Philip and Christopher did an amazing job on it. Yeah, I like it a lot. I need to digest it a little bit more, but I like it so far. I'd like to see that producer dude. What producer dude? There's a lot of producer dudes that have come. Michael Wagner. I'm trying to get him to come.
I'm sure he'll be there.
Well, it depends on his schedule. He's always busy.
Yeah.
He did pop in for a few minutes last time. Oh, excuse me.
Have a drink.
I don't have any alcohol. No, there's no Limp Bizkit. That's a guarantee.
No.
Although Limp Bizkit was one of the better live bands I've seen. They're actually really good.
I'm sorry.
No, you should see them. Yeah, Michael, I'm working on it. Yes, he's a cool guy. Michael Wagner or Fred Durst? No,
I'll go with Michael Wagner.
I saw Limp Bizkit 3 times. They're pretty good.
Yeah, Toddzilla. That's another good one.
How the big and tasty is neither big nor tasty. That's kind of hard. I can't argue with that. No thoughts wrong on the big.
What is the big and tasty?
It is a McDonald's burger.
Oh, okay.
I love Todd. I don't know if we're gonna have room on the. I think I've pretty much got the lineup worked out, and if for Todzilla's band to perform, I think I'd need an arena to fit everybody on stage. But I love Toddzilla.
Yeah, but he'll probably make an appearance. I know.
Well, we are gonna do a rare hair set the night before after Resistant Bite, and I'd like to see Todd come out and play something at that if he's interested. It'll just be.
Yeah, those are always cool too. You never know who's gonna get up on stage and jam with everybody, and that's always a once in a lifetime kind of thing.
No.
No.
Did you hear about Marilyn Manson? Yeah, I think I've heard too much about Marilyn Manson this past week. Although the way Eric spelled it looks like it says Marlon Manson.
How about if Marilyn Manson shows up, then Chief Thunder Chicken will take him on.
I don't know. What do you think of the Manson? I mean, I wasn't shocked at all. I mean, it's pretty sad, but I there's been stories in the industry about his treatment of not just girlfriends, of people in general behind the scenes for many, many, many years. So I from what I've heard, stories told to me by people that have worked with him, no, I'm not surprised, and I'd be shocked if the rumors were not true.
Yeah, well, I've never met him personally, so who knows? And that, but you can't be that weird and have. I mean, I realize he had a whole shtick going on with his stage show and everything, and and didn't know how true that was, but he took things so much to the extreme that like he's got to be somewhat that way, at least.
Oh, it's more than somewhat.
Unlike Alice Cooper, Alice Cooper started the whole shock rock thing, and
that was theater. That was different.
Well, that's what I mean. It was, when he come out, I thought, he's just, doing the modern Alice Cooper thing. But the difference is, you see anything of Alice Cooper off stage, and he's just a normal, regular guy. And anything you'd see of Marilyn Manson, he would still be weird, and it was just, you could just tell he was, that wasn't just a theater shtick for him. And the problem is, especially nowadays, he's facing a lot of heat now. I hear his manager of many years has dumped him now, or the label. And
I'm sorry, Kristen. Ron's just so riveting, I can't help but yawn. No, it's been a long day, guys. And like when Rocket Pod shit starts, it's like it's a second job, and like the amount of phone calls I've done this week is nuts. And well, blah blah blah. Yes, I'll stop now. I'll try. But yeah, no, I don't know. I wasn't shocked at all. We'll see what happens, but yes, he's definitely getting canceled across the board. I saw his 25-year manager dropped him. So who knows?
If there's even any truth of it at all, then I don't condone it. He's a fucking jerk. Then, you don't mistreat women, and
I agree.
And and I know. I remember Rachel Wood, was it that she's the one that came out with it, and then now a bunch of others have followed. But
sorry, I'm doing it. I'm tired. Oh man, yeah. I told you guys we didn't have much planned for tonight aside from talking to Drew, which went way better than we could have hoped, and he was a great guest. But yeah, I don't know. You ready to get out of here? I can't think of much else to talk about.
Well, I guess, we don't have a whole lot.
I don't have a
lot else
crash
that went on this week, other than the whole Marilyn Manson thing and that.
But new episode of the podcast coming out in the next few days with Ron Keel, so that'll be cool. And then I don't know what we're going to do next Friday, or actually we do have some guests coming on next Friday, right?
We do have a guest, as far as I know, and
he has
confirmed. So I guess I can go ahead. As far as right now, he's confirmed to come on, but we got Mickey Finn from Jet Boy is going to be coming on next week, talking with us about some new Jet Boy music that's coming out, and what's going on with them guys, and that. So it should be a good talk with him. And
yeah, I'm excited to talk. I've never talked to him before, so this should be pretty fun. And I love Jet Boy. It'll be cool to hear their story and help them promote their next. And you said, is Billy Rowe going to come on, or is he not able to?
He was supposed to, but unfortunately he's going to be out of town.
Okay.
At that time, he's actually playing with Buck Cherry now.
Oh, that's right.
And he's doing stuff with them. I don't know if that's what he's doing, anything with them, but he just said, unfortunately, he's going to be out of town.
Gotcha.
Next Friday, and
all right,
so he's not able to do it. But as far as I know, Mickey's in for it, and then we're trying to line up some others coming up.
Yeah. So we'll have Mickey, we'll have Smash or Trash, we'll do some show and tell next week, and we'll be back on our game next week.
We might even have Aaron. Who knows?
Well, let's hope so. All right, guys, we're going to get out of here. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for all the comments. Thanks for interacting. It always means a lot to us. And Kristen, thanks for joining us on FAFT.
FAFT.
All right, let's get out of here.
Time to get more Jaeger. Yep.
All right. Good night,
all
everybody.
Right. Thanks, guys. Have a good night. See you next Friday. Go Chiefs.
Yes.